and we're live with yet another session on our season two of Breaking into Product Management. And on this episode with us, we have Chaitanya. Welcome, Chaitanya.
Hey Suhas, hi. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for inviting me over.
Thank you so much for joining us. Quick intro into his profile. He is currently an APM at BYJU'S, one of India's number one edtech companies. He is a 2021 engineering graduate from NIT Warangal, and he's also been a product intern at CRED and Vedantu. During his engineering days, he had founded a service-based startup called Phasers to provide mentorship to IIT aspirants. So lots of points of discussion for today's session that we have. But to get started, Chaitanya, would you want to share with our audience a little more about your undergraduate days? How did you really get interested in product management, and how did your internships and your career really get started?
Sure, Suhas. So, basically, as Suhas mentioned, I was in NIT Warangal, and when I was in second year, I founded a startup called Phasers, where basically it's a consultancy firm for JEE aspirants. Then we were in touch with around 19,000 students, but then again, there wasn't something missing. Like we were too young, like all the teammates were too young, and it was like we are just going with raw instincts. So I just thought, okay, let me get out of the system and see what exactly is happening in the organizations, the current startups, tech startups. So then I went into Vedantu from a referral. That is with from one of my childhood teachers. Over there, I went into Vedantu from a referral as a intern. It's not product management intern per se, but a management intern. After going there, I got to know that there is something called product management, product managers. Then in the last month, I got to work with the product manager. I didn't understand like what exactly product management is, but I really loved the way he talks. I love the way how he handles all the situations and the way he talks to people, etc. Then at the end of my internship, I asked him if he can explain me what exactly is product management. Then we talked for an hour, and then he handed me this book called the Product Book by Product School. There's one, he gave me that ebook, and I just started reading it. I did not understand in the starting anything. Why? Because I'm just a second year undergrad. I didn't understand anything. But when I came back home again, that thought was lingering in my mind. Okay, what exactly is this thing, etc., etc. Then I started diving deep into it, saw some videos. There are certain videos where people are really passionate to explain product management. Those kind of YouTube content. Then at the same time, like you, Suhas, and like the TPF have been coming up with product videos. Like I have reached out to you, I have seen your content and everything. Then I started, okay, I talked to few of the product managers and see what they are doing in their daily life. So when I was in Vedanta, I didn't get the chance to talk about, to product manager about from his side, from his perspective, what exactly goes. I just saw him from my perspective, but I didn't get the chance. So this time I tried to get to know their perspective, seeing what exactly will happen in their day-to-day life. Then I mapped whether I will be a perfect fit over there, whether I can see myself doing all the stuff over there. Then I thought, okay, this is something I have been doing. Some of the parts I have been doing in my college days, let's say during the phase conducting events or being a student council member, etc., like dealing with people, talking with people, making such decisions, etc., etc. So I thought, okay, this is something which I have been doing. Let me just try and see if I really fit in. Then I started, building products. So I have another friend who is a colleague at Vedantu. We both started building one product called Loot, which was another startup. Basically, we kind of went to Vaisika first round, and again we got back. There was certain feedback given. We reiterated on that. So during that time, I led a lot of books along with my friend. Then at that point of time, I was like, consuming all the knowledge as well as practically executing that in my product. This is where I thought, okay, I realized, okay, this is something I love doing. Then after the start, like after Loot got shell, This was during COVID. Like COVID just started. Then I thought, okay, why just staying in home? So I just went to my friend's place, and then we started there. Then after Loot got shelved, I thought I had few few companies in my mind, saying ki I need to get into these companies. Before listing those companies, I saw the product people in the companies. I researched myself on how the product culture is, what's the learning opportunity, and overall vision of the particular company. I still have that particular talk where even now I go back and see what all are the companies. Did I attend any interviews? So I have 10 companies. There used to be 20 to 30. Then I shortlisted 10 companies. Then I tried cold mailing each and every probable recruiter from that company, be it HR, be it a product manager. So CRED was one of the top three companies. Then I got a reply from CRED CPO. Then I talked to him. We I shared my portfolio. I said why I expressed why product management and why CRED in particular. Yeah, that's how it started. That's how I got into. That's where my real product management journey as a product guy in a team. That's where it started, and yeah, it's been great since then. The learning opportunities, and yeah, it's been great since then.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And doing all this while at college, how did you manage to do this along with your curriculum? The studies part. Were you able to balance? Were you
So
like a
my
topper?
GPA 6 point, right now it's 6.6. So
Okay.
I guess that's how I managed. Uh,
No, but that just shows that, it's not a stopping point, right? Experimental with lots of different things while you're at college, and you can still break into. But super curious, are you a hands-on tech guy? What background do you come from? What did you study while at college?
so I'm a graduate from metallurgical and material science engineering. So
Nice.
no tech background, but I managed to I was curious in machine learning and AI.
Uh,
So I just learned there was a startup by our seniors in our college. So
uh-huh.
I got into it by doing a ML project. Then basically it was around computer vision.
Got it.
So I did couple of projects around computer vision.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that helped me get into BYJU'S.
So, was this a part of your curriculum, or how did you pick up,
No, no, no.
was this like
It's an
online?
extracurricular activity basically. Like seniors were looking out for looking for for freshers to join into those clubs. It's not
Yeah.
a club. It's a startup. They have few clients on providing computer vision solutions.
Mm-hmm.
They know that no one knows computer vision in the college, but they were ready to take people who are curious, and they taught us how to.
Explain that.
Exactly. So that's
Right.
how I learned, and yeah, that's been my experience in from the tech side. While building my portfolio,
Yeah.
I took a Udemy course on how to build a website, and then I built my portfolio.
Very interesting. I think this reminds me of Shreyas Doshi's very, very famous thread on high agency. I think that is fantastic. Jumping into Byju's, now you've interned at Vedantu and CRED. You come to the probably, end of third year or fourth year of college. How did the APM at Byju's? You mentioned you had shortlisted a bunch of companies, right? So how did
Yes.
the process post that look like?
Yeah. So as I said, in the companies, the first priority I have given is to edtech companies. Why? Because the two startups which I worked is regarding edtech. I was really interested in the edtech. The experience has been great. So there were two types. One is edtech, and the other one is company with best cultures where I can learn a lot. Among that, CRED was there. I got into CRED. Then meanwhile at that time I reached out to Byju's also, but there was no internship curriculum as such. And so yeah, that's how it went. I did not get to interview. So I meanwhile this process is going on while searching for roles which I might be a good fit and trying to connect to different people. I joined all the communities as possible. Like there are many companies where many people doing good things for aspirants, right? So I joined all the communities, TPF, product school, PM school, like all the communities. Then I used to every day in the evening I used to check. There will be channels, right, where they post the gigs. I used to check and then see if so there will be minimum one day there will be at least one post by a guy about a role. I used to go to that company website and see whether I will be aligned to the particular vision or I will be a good fit. I would not just go and apply, but I would just see whether this is a good fit for me or not. Then once in PM School Community ka Slack, I saw a senior product manager at BYJU'S, who is currently my reporting manager, great guy. So he posted regarding requirement for APM with computer vision experience. When I saw it, I thought, okay, this is the correct time. And I have, I said you like, I told you that I did couple of projects in my BTech, right, regarding computer vision. I don't know why I wrote the article on it, but I wrote it. I wrote an article on the project I did. I sent that article to him. I guess he liked, and I was shortlisted. Then I got a call from HR saying, this is the process. They transparently explained me what's the process, etc. And then within 3 days, there were 3 rounds basically. All the 3 rounds were done. And then yeah, at the end of the third day, I got the offer.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I agree with you. I think you've nailed on the structure. In this, how many companies did you shortlist? How many did you interview? Was it just this process that say you have only interviewed at BYJU'S and you got through, or
No,
did
no.
you do multiple interviews? Would love to hear, how that funnel looks like. It'll
Yeah, yeah,
help our audience.
definitely. So I would say at the top of the funnel, like talking as a product guy, at the top of the funnel, there were around 20 companies, I would say. Then shortlisting them and trying to, like, it's not that by shortlisting I mean I was interested, but if got a chance I would have worked in all the 20 companies. They are really good companies, but like I was passionate about certain visions of certain companies. So then comes to 10, the second, there is a 10 drop over there, and the second it comes to like 10 companies. I reached out to all the people, but I couldn't maybe get a reply or not. I got in a tech itself, I got through some companies. I didn't do well in the interviews, but that really helped in one way. Then there were certain companies which were really good, but they were out of my radar. Like I didn't know these companies are that good. When I got to know that there are opportunities and research about the companies, then I got to know that okay, this company is really good. The product culture is really good. The CEO is really good, and everything. Then I applied for them also.
Got
So
it.
BYJU'S is going on. I had like a couple of interviews also going on, which were like going really good. They were in the final stages. As I got BYJU'S, I didn't want to have other things going on in my mind, so I just went through BYJU'S.
And once you got the offer letter, that was the one you finalized, or did you have like, okay,
No,
that's
no,
lovely.
that was the fun I finalized.
Nice, nice, nice. So that's awesome. Uh, Jumping a little deeper into your BYJU'S interviews, how many rounds did you have? What kind of questions were there? How would you suggest our audience to prepare
Got
for?
it. So there were 3 rounds apart from the first HR round where I get to talk. So the 3 rounds are with product managers. The first round was with senior product manager. Basically, it started like I mean, all the product interviews get started with introduction and also talk about my work experience. So all the 3 rounds started with the same thing. We talk about my work experience, my startup experience, what were the learnings, and how my responsibilities were in my previous organization, CRED or my own startup. So how was it? How I tackled, etc. All these things go. Then coming to the product management ka interview ka, like general standard type of questions. The main thing which in all these 3 rounds, the main thing tested is the product sense. Then the questions around product sense would be which were asked to me was like basically they were revolving around how I would critique a product, what would I see in a product to be great, like what parameters would I see in a product to be great. Basically like more, you would have by the time I am saying this, you would have known that I'm talking about that particular question called what is your favorite product, right? So what is your favorite product, why, what would you improve? The question asked to me in particular was what is your so tell me about your 3 favorite products which you use daily. Then the interviewer gets to pick one. Then we dive deep into what are the top 3 features you like, the top 3 features you don't like. And again, breaking down into next step, in the top 3 features which you don't like, pick one, prioritize one, and how will you give a solution to it. Basically it was more of a discussion rather than an Q&A. Yeah. Then next to that, that was the question. Basically that's how it went. The first round went around the products and why the product, why you like this particular product, and my work experience. Then coming to the second round was with another senior product manager. This was also mostly like, it started with my background, like my work experience, how it went, etc., etc. Then we went into product design question. This time so there are two types of questions. One is product design, and then another one analysis ka question, which is basically guesstimate. Then so basically like just going back, zooming out and seeing that the interview flow, it totally depends on how the way we talk, right? So it was more like a discussion rather than a Q&A. That's how it started. And uh, the questions which were asked were totally depending on the discussion which was between me and the senior product manager. So we were talking about edtech. So the product design question was about edtech. Like, let's say design a earphones for a visually impaired student. The use case was for students. The user was student in COVID situation, in this particular situation. So that was the question. My suggestion would be not to directly jump to the conclusion, jump to the solution. Look at the problem. Not only the problem, what exactly is going behind the problem. Like, there are certain steps in order to occur to the problem, right? So what exactly is going in those steps? Then yeah, there are different frameworks. Try to learn all those frameworks. It's good to have all that knowledge, but have your own framework. That's one advice I would give. Then yeah, that went well. Depending on the discussion, then it was regarding edtech, right? So the next guesstimate was also again regarding edtech. We were in the same discussion, right? So that guesstimate, for example, was how many online classes are going on right now today in this COVID situation. So yeah, this was the question. And that was really fun. I didn't expect to discuss about these kind of questions, which were really interesting to me. That was really fun interview, fun round. Then yeah, that went well. And immediately the next day I have another round with assistant vice president of product at BYJU'S. That was also, so basically I was nervous about it, but yeah, the interviewers are basically product managers, right? So product managers are really good at empathy, and they understand what an interview me, like, I'm thinking about. Yeah. So so you are on mute, not about here.
Yeah, I was just saying they also know about how an interviewee will be,
Exactly.
feeling in that situation. Yeah.
Exactly. And they made it really, comfortable for me. So yeah, I was really nervous, but the way it went was really good. The kind of questions asked were, first, again, would start with my work experience. How my work experience is, what were the responsibilities, and so this particular interesting question, which I didn't expect, was uh, what will be the top 3 to 5 metrics which the founder of your previous organization would look at. Like, you have to prioritize from all the metrics. Like, when I got this question, I had like so many metrics flying in, but what would be the top three metrics? That was fun question, and it was nice working around it. Then the next question was execution question, basically to in terms of product management questions. So basically it was like, let's say for example, your PM of Facebook and the friend request went down by 10%. How would you go about it? How would you tackle this particular situation? And also like, this can be like, you are a PM at let's say Swiggy or Amazon, and at certain step of the funnel there's a drop. How would you analyze it, and what would you do to sustain that particular situation? So yeah, these were the questions that were asked. And then next to these, the questions were like behavioral questions, like trying to test whether I will be a right fit or not, and why BYJU'S exactly. So if anyone is looking to enter into BYJU'S, this would be my advice. Be clear on first thing, why BYJU'S. I mean, why BYJU'S as in why edtech it would come, and then why product management exactly. So yeah, why BYJU'S and why product management, why edtech, and then couple of culture fit questions. Yeah, Subhas. This was my overall interview experience, and it was really a great learning experience for me, I would say.
Nice.
Got to learn a lot.
No, that's awesome. Thanks for detailing it out. I think each of these
Yeah,
steps, and this probably brings us to the meat of the discussion, right? For folks who are probably looking to, break into a product role at Byju's, you shared the different kind of steps, or basically the interview steps that are there. But any resources or any suggestions of how do people really prepare for these interviews? That would be
yeah.
awesome.
Great, great. So, how I would go about this is like how I went about this basically is I just so I had this experience of doing interviews in a couple of other companies, right? So basically, this is how the structure will be. First round, mostly product sense question. That's how they shortlist, right? I just thought from the interviewer perspective and see how they will do the all the three rounds. So first round, when it comes to product sense questions, what I did is there are a lot of resources, right? Both video content as well as text content. I just took around 1 hour to go through all the product sense questions. I would come up with questions as well as how to solve them. Then I prepared my own document having my own framework, which was derived from all the frameworks. Then I would have some sample questions which I solved myself, like rather than looking at the solution. In the starting, I was always tempted to look at the solutions rather than trying myself. So one advice I would give is maybe in the starting, look at them to get an idea, but at certain point of time, just try it on your own. Yeah, then I made a document where I listed all the different kinds of questions: product sense, product design, execution, strategy, all these things. Then under each of thing, I came up with my own framework, saying ki, okay, this is how I tackle them, this is how I would approach, this is how I would talk with the interviewer, even the minute details. And I used to just visualize all these things, like how they are being done, how I have to talk to them, how this is going, etc. So the resources, like now I will try to name some resources by recollecting like what I prepared. For the video content, I would see the exponent is good, and also yeah, you're on mute, Suhas.
Yeah, I think it's a great resource, especially the mock interviews. I think that is amazing.
Yeah, exponent is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there is this another thing called product alliance, that is also good. And yours truly, the TPF. Basically, the thing which I loved about TPF is I was really following. I was a rigorous follower of the breaking into product management ka series. That really helped me on how to how basically it built my confidence on, okay, I can also break into product management. And they mentioned the resources and etc. So go through these things. Then coming to the apart from videos, you can join all the Slack channels. I will come to this in the networking part. But yeah, coming to resources, there are certain resources. There is this great product I call Manas J Solai. Even Suhas also has his own structured blog. So go through some structured. There are some such structured blogs on resources that would really help you a lot in saving time, as well as they are structured right. I mean, the product guys, whoever made these resources, they thought a lot on this. They thought about the aspirant perspective, and then they made these resources. Even Suhas or Manas, all these guys. So go through them. Try to maybe think about your product management journey as a product experience, like how a user experience this and how would you make it better. So have a product roadmap. What I mean by product roadmap, let's say in 1 month you have to complete all these resources, read them. You might say ki, yeah, there is this thing ki, theoretical experience, theoretical learning, as well as practical experience. Theoretical learning, it might take some time, but it really helps you in the background, reading all those books and etc. At certain point of time while interviews are going on, or even when you work, like I read some books which are really helping me right now in my daily life as an APM. Let's say the mom test. There's this book called Mom Test, which is really good. And then Design of Everyday Things. All these books, they are really good books. uh, yeah uh, Apart from the books, read an article minimum, like one minimum per day. I would say, like, maybe just after a Netflix chilling session, to feel good, read an article. Or and also, if possible, write as much as possible. Articulate everything you learn. That would be really helpful for yourself. It doesn't matter whether other people are reading it or not, but on the long run, whenever you see your own articulated stuff, it like the grasping over there would be really great. Then, if possible, do product boot camps. That would really help. Why? Because over there you will get to talk to really like many cool product managers, as well as get to build your own product if possible. Then you will be a product guy for certain days. That will change your perspective on learning things and executing things. So do a product boot camp if possible. Yeah, this would be my suggestions. This is not particularly in BYJU'S. Like, I mean, these views are not particularly in BYJU'S. It's overall, like, yeah, overall, in the holistic perspective, in order to how to, go through the interviews.
Yeah.
This is about the resources, right? Then there are other things, apart from learning. There are many, like, few other important things in order to get into this role. One is networking. I would say networking is really, really important. Why? Because you never know in which way you get an opportunity. Like, maybe one day you have talked to a PM in LinkedIn, and some other day he found that your profile is good fit, and he will get back to you. So yeah, that is one way. There are many other things. So yeah, so
This is great. I think love the fact that you did give us also a shout out, and that was the reason actually we created that Learn PM with .me resource also. And
yeah,
Manas's blog is fantastic. I think that's a great starting point for people looking to even just check, hey, is product management really for me? What is product management, right? Just to understand that basic. Um, to understand something specific, like if I have to go deeper, when you mentioned, hey, there was this product design round, there was the guesstimate round, did you use any specific resources to prepare for that, or was it the decode and conquer, cracking the PM? Was there
yeah,
any
yeah.
specific one?
So I started with cracking the PM interview, and then decode and conquer. This was in my BTech third year. Basically, at that time, I made a notes, so I just referred to that notes. I did not go through the books again. I documented those things, so I went through those. Apart from that, so this is how I went. I went through few other resources. Let's say Exponent. I used to see how in the mock interviews, I
Yeah.
used to see how they're answering, and I used to make a note of it. Okay, this is the process. This is how structured we have to think. I documented it, and like combining all these things, I came up with my own framework, which will resemble those frameworks. So yeah, like I would say, Exponent, cracking the PM interview, decode and conquer. Yeah, these were the things I really looked into. That was a starting point for me. Cracking the PM interview was the first starting point for me,
Nice.
and those documentations which I articulated at that time helped me, like, even recently.
That's awesome. What would you say was your timeline? I know you probably did two internships, but if someone's trying to start today, how much time should they spend first on getting these fundamentals in place before starting to interview? Any rough timeline?
Yeah, sure, sure. I would say the ideal time would be 2 to 3 months. Like 3 months, the ideal time would be. Uh, comfortably 3 months. You can do it in 1 month, but you have to really work hard. By hard, I mean spend more time on it. Not hard, but spend more time, more and more and more and more and time on it. But as today, most of the undergrads have other works, academic works, etc. Even professionals, like, well, they are in their works. So 3 months would be really good. And you can break it down, like, so I would say there are three phases. I would say one is awareness ka phase. like whether product management is good for me, talking to the PMs, knowing how their daily life as a PM is. Then the execution ka phase where we try to be ourselves in the shoes of product manager and try to do, let's say, in the product boot camps or writing articles and or building a product, let's say no code tool. You can build a no code tool, so that would really help. And then going to the interviews, preparing for the interviews, landing the interviews.
Yeah.
Landing the interview is totally different, and again preparing for the interview is totally different, and being a product manager is totally different.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah,
Agree. No, I think these are three different skill sets if you see, right? One is of your, just how do I like get to know a person, right? Understand that field. Another one is little deep, hey, how do I crack the PM interview? And the third is your product building skill, right? As and when you start working, now that you're at Baidu, now it's a different skill set. Of course, there are some fundamentals which are common to all of it. But I think each three of these buckets are important in its own sense, right?
yeah,
At any given point of time.
exactly.
So,
So totally.
that was awesome. Chaitanya, we probably come to the end of this interview. I think really enjoyed how you went in depth on the different sections and the resources that you shared. So we will be sharing links to all the resources you shared in the description below. Before we end this, one question I love asking is there any person who has really inspired you, anyone that you'd love to give a shout out to, who you think others might just want to connect with, or even if it's not someone you met, it can be just some people that you follow. So you can anyone, any of your mentors, for example. It can be your peers, for example, some people who
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, for sure. So there are around, I would say, not one guy who really helped me. So one fictional guy. What I mean by fictional, in my perspective, I did not talk to him yet.
right, right.
It was Lenny. Like I used to, like I literally asked my father so many times to subscribe. But yeah, those articles were really good when I was, when in the starting stage. But apart from people in my to whom I talk to, he's a PM at Hacker Rank right now. So I did a boot camp with him in APM, and he really helped me. He really each and every time he really helped me a lot. He's Abhishek NL Abhishek sir. Like I
I
would
love
say,
to give a shout out to him. I think Abhishek's a great guy
yeah,
for sure.
thanks a lot, Abhishek sir.
Yeah, no, that's
So,
awesome. No, he's a good friend, and
oh, great.
definitely, I think lovely stuff that they've been doing as well. And
Yeah.
last question before we tune out, I think Chetan is. Um I'm sorry. Were you going to give a shout out to someone else? Is it? I thought it was just one, but
No, no, no,
I
no.
sorry, I cut you off.
It's fine. I was able to give to you also. Why? Because if you remember, like you were, I think I have sent you a screenshot, right?
Right?
So while I was in my third year summer, I guess, third year summer or fourth year starting, I sent you a shout out then itself saying ki, thanks a lot for helping us with the Breaking into PM series. So yeah, many, it's really, glad to see that many people are trying to help aspirants.
Yeah.
I didn't see that in other communities, like let's say other community, but product community people are really good, man. I'm glad to I'm happy to know that.
No, thank you so much for that, Chara, and like thank you for being a part of season two. Right, from these learnings, other people also learn from
Yeah,
your experience.
great.
Thanks for being a part of this. Just before we tune out, what we're trying to do is create a benchmark series on debunking PM salaries. I think what we noticed is platforms like Glassdoor, etc., are pretty outdated, and these are some common questions that we keep getting. Given that you recently broke into PM, you and your peers might have been interviewing at top
Yeah,
startups, right?
yeah,
Is there any ranges that you could share with our audience today
yeah,
across
definitely.
maybe tier one companies, tier two companies? Any broad ranges that would help our audience understand what the reality is that?
Definitely. So we can break it down like this. There are companies who are in the starting stage, startups, and then growth stage companies, and then saturated companies. I mean, they are well settled. So in the startups, it would be from, I would say, 10 LPA to 10 LPA to 14. I would say around 9 or 9 to 14. I would say, and the growth stage it would be from 15 to 20, and then in the well established startups it would be from 18 to 25, 23. I would say, but it also depends on your experience as an APM. If you already have 1 year or 2 years experience, then it depends totally on your previous salary, etc. But yeah, this would be the range.
Yeah,
And it,
broad ranges.
yeah, I mean, it's pretty good for a graduate who's just out of college to be an APM in all the perspectives.
Absolutely, and congratulations to you to
Yeah,
actually break this in. And thank you for sharing that. Right, I think in India, at least, I think lots of us are pretty hesitant to say this, but I think it just helps a lot more people
yeah,
easily understand what the space is about, and broad ranges definitely help. I think that is a similar number we've been getting from other participants as well.
yeah.
But thank you so much, Chaitanya, for
So much.
sharing all these insights with us. With lovely chatting with you today, and we will
Same
catch
here,
you
same
soon.
here. Thanks a lot for inviting me over. I mean, it's really, it feels good to talk to you.
Bye. No,
And
absolutely.
I would totally resonate with the audience, right? Recent undergrads right now and recent grads. I would totally resonate them, and I would be more than happy to help over there.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Chaitanya. Folks, in case you do want to connect and you want to learn more about BYJU'S, we will be adding his link in the description as well. Please do. What would be the best way to reach out to you? Email or LinkedIn?
LinkedIn or email, anything is fine.
Yeah, we'll be adding that in the chat section. So feel free to reach out to him. And with that, we come to the end of this. Do stay tuned for more episodes coming out. We will be sharing stories of PMs from various startups, of India's top startups, and then probably globally a couple of very, very interesting people we have lined up. And we'll see you soon.
Bye.